Hey guys, in this video I'm going to teach you the Rubik's Cube notation. So I'm going to divide this video to a few parts. The first part will be the basic notation that you pretty much must know to solve any cube. After that I'm going to do the wide turn notation and 4x4 notation, and then I'm going to go over the slice notation, and finally on the other cubes notation like Pyraminx or I don't know, Megaminx maybe. You can find all the timestamps on the description, so if you want you can skip to whichever notation you want to. Now I think that I forgot to say that prime means counterclockwise. Just a shorter way to say that. So let's begin with the basic notation. So the basic notation is actually quite simple. There is the 6 letters, which are U, D, F, B, R, and L, which each letter represents a side. Like R means right, U means up, L means left, F means front, D means down, and B means back. So, and then there is actually another 3 signs. One is that there is no sign after the letter. The other one is that there is a comma after the letter. And the other one is that there is a 2 written after the letter. If there is a comma, it means that you have to do it counterclockwise. If there is nothing after the letter, then you do it the movement clockwise. And if there is 2, then you do a double turn of 180 degrees. So let's say there is an R and a comma. So you do R counterclockwise 90 degrees. Let's say there is an F2. So that you do a front movement of 180 degrees. So let's say another example, if there is a B counterclockwise or B comma, then you're going to need to do the back face counterclockwise 90 degrees. So it pretty much goes the same way for all the other examples, so I don't think I need to show you anymore. If you didn't understand, you should probably just rewatch this part. Now I'm going to go to the wide turn notation. So the wide turn notation and also the big cubes notation, it's actually pretty simple after you know the basic notation. You can have either let's say you have all the letters that you had before and all the 3 signs, but instead of that normal capital letter, you can either have a normal letter, not a capital letter, or you can have a capital letter and then a W after it. So either a normal R, which will mean that, or a RW, which will also mean the same thing, just in different places there is a different notation. And also the same thing is used for the 4x4. The RW or normal R will mean 2 layers. Also here, 2 layers. Also in bigger cubes like 5x5 or 6x6, it will mean 2 layers. You can also, and then if you have the normal R or RW, you will just have 90 degrees of the right face. Or if you can have the R comma, and this will be 90 degrees counterclockwise. So this is pretty similar to the normal notation. Now I'm going to go on over the slice notation, which is just a bit more complicated. For the slice notation, you will have to learn 3 new letters. The first is M, stands for middle. It's this slice between the right and the left face. Then there is E, which stands for equator, which, as it sounds like, it's the equator between U and D. And then there is S, which stands for, I think, slice, which is between F and B. So each letter has its own clockwise and counterclockwise, and two, like with the comma and with the space and with the two after the letter. So just an example, the direction of the M is normal M goes down, M prime or M counterclockwise goes up, and E goes to the right, E counterclockwise goes to the left, S goes to the right, and S counterclockwise goes to the left. And of course 180 degrees, it doesn't matter which direction you choose, because it's just a double turn. The cube rotation notation is another three letters. There is X, Y, and Z, which simply tells you which axis to rotate the cube on. So X means to rotate the entire cube, like do an L move with the entire cube. And L counterclockwise or L comma means, and X counterclockwise or X comma means turning the entire cube to the opposite direction. And then Y is to rotate the cube to this direction, so like a U prime, and Y prime, like it's like a U. And then Z, it's like this, rotating the cube like an F move, and Z prime is like an F prime move, counterclockwise. The Pyraminx notation is actually quite simple, because there's only 4 faces. So there is the U, and U counterclockwise, which is the same, R and L, and R and L, and R counterclockwise, which is the same, L and L counterclockwise, and of course also R2, which is not very used, and the U2, and also there is the B clockwise or B counterclockwise, or of course B2, which is again isn't used very much. So that's for the for the full faces, and for the tips there is the same thing, just with a small letter. So like small r, or I'm not sure, but maybe some people use W after the letter. The same thing like Y notation on 3x3 or 4x4 Y notation. So let's say U, small u will mean like this, U comma will mean this. It's pretty much the same. I'm pretty sure there isn't a notation for this kind of moves, slice moves, but you can, if you will see something like L prime and then small l, you can also execute it like that. So next I'm going to teach you the Megaminx notation. Finally, the Megaminx notation, it's actually a little bit more complicated since there are 12 faces, but the scrambling notation is a little bit different, and the algorithm notation actually a lot different. It has only U moves, and of course U counterclockwise and U2, and U2 prime, U2 counterclockwise, because it actually matters where it's on, when there's 5 faces. So it actually matters which direction is the U2. And then for the scrambling, there's only 2 other things, R++ and D++. This means the entire, you hold the cube here on this left sub corners, and then you R++ means turn the entire thing, the entire right side twice, and D++ means the same thing with the down face. And there's also minus minus, which means counterclockwise. So that's the scrambling notation. The solving notation, the algorithm notation, is actually a lot simpler and more similar to the normal 3x3 cube. There's the R, normal R, U, L, and F, but the only different B moves aren't actually used on Megaminx. But for D moves, you will have DR and DL, down right and down left, since there are 2 downs. and it doesn't mean this down because that's pretty much too far to reach. This is easier to reach, and you don't really need notation for all the faces, since you aren't always gonna use the same face in all the faces. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. On the left I have some step-by-step example solves, and on the right I have the phrases to better debate tutorial. Bye!